hold on. We're going to share this. Hold on. Copy link. We're back. We're back. We're so back. We're back. Are you guys back? We're back. I'm back. Are you back? I'm back. What are we doing? We're out here. We're doing it. We're working. You like this cool backdrop? Fuck yeah. You gotta pick a side, man. You gotta pick a side. And I'm just gonna go with my gut, right? Gotta stick with my team. Even if the president is a fucking idiot. Donald J. Trump is a fucking idiot. Do we got closed captioning on me? Wouldn't that be cool? Welcome. Welcome one. Come on. We're going to talk about what's going on in Israel, Iran, and around the world. Right now, the United States is helping Israel defend from missile attacks. Is anyone helping Iran? Like, is China helping Iran? Is Russia helping Iran? That's the question. But we are helping Israel. And a lot of people in our country don't agree with that. And that's their right. You know, that's your right to not agree with why we are supporting Israel and helping defend Israel right now from missile attacks. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. Like and subscribe. We'll be here all night. We'll be here all night. Intermittently. Off and on. I finally just, went and generated a new backdrop to, to really capture the moment. But, I might run for president in 2028. There's still time. There's still time. And it'll be probably me versus everybody. They would never let me in there. They would never let me in there. I would do a good job, though. I would do an okay job. They'd probably have to kill me, though. I'd get Kennedy back and to the left. Can you just say crazy stuff like this on the internet? Live broadcasting? Before your connection gets wonky. But the Kennedy files, right? Everybody's talking about the JFK files. The JFK files. Fucking just put them out, dude. Just put them out there in all their glory, and then, let people do what they will.
In 2 miles, take right exit 97 onto Arkansas 72.
What are you afraid of? Hasn't everyone that would have been criminally implicated in that died already now? If you're just now tuning in, this is the Joey Farr live during wartime episode number 5, season 1. And rather than doom scroll and read a bunch of news that you already know, we're just going to go live about it, right? We already know what's going to happen with Iran and Israel and the United States, and it's just going to keep compounding, right?
In a half mile, take right exit 97 onto Arkansas 72
I'm here for
using
it.
the right lane.
Are you here for it? I'm here for it. I don't know why, I don't know why. And I don't think any of us really know why.
Take right exit
We're at
97
this
onto
particular
Arkansas
juncture, but we
72.
are. Maybe 25 years later than we thought we would be, right?
In a quarter mile, make a slight right turn
Yeah.
on West Highway 72.
Where were you on Y2K? Where were you on 9/11? Where the fuck are you at, Toby Keith? Right?
Make a slight right turn on West
Where you
Highway
at?
72.
Toby Keith? If you guys see Toby Keith, you get the hell out of the graveyard. He's dead. You leave your roses and get the hell out of there. And you close that casket. I don't know that. I don't know if Toby Keith was buried or cremated or what. It's none of my business. But where were you on 9/11? I know where the fuck I was.
In a quarter mile, turn left to stay on West Highway 72.
I wish, let's see. I'm going to keep this backdrop for every time I go live. I'm going to make some more just like it.
Turn left to stay on West Highway 72.
People get offended with me when I'm like unapologetically supporting Israel and America. And I do the same for Walmart. I don't like any of them really, right? My wife, I was reading a comment, my wife just told me I look handsome today, but it's not
In
on
a quarter
YouTube.
mile, turn right on
She's
Hiawassee
telling
Road
me
using
that
the
on
right lane.
Facebook. But anyway, isn't that nice? She could watch me on TV right now. She doesn't even know it. She could be watching Joey Farr live during wartime. Episode 5, Season 1, Episode 5.
Turn right on Hiawassee Road.
I could probably tell her. Share it. I shared this with some other friends. I hope they tune in. Maybe Jason Pellish will show up and go live with me, and like he and I can do a conference call, and you guys will enjoy that, right? He's going to try to make me mad, and I will try to make him mad, and we'll just go back and forth. And won't that be fun? If he shows up, I'll go, I might go check and see if Jason Pellish has a YouTube account that can go live and join me. We talk about doing Facebook join lives with all our verified check marks going live at once, seeing if we can crash Facebook. But We haven't done that with YouTube, you know. Buddy, I'm burping for a grand total of 0 viewers.
In a quarter-mile, turn left on Highlands Boulevard.
You know, I figured with this backdrop, we would have some people just show up curious. This is ironically and unironically, we're bananas for Israel and the U.S.
Turn left on Highlands Boulevard.
USA, USA. I'm joking. I'm not really patriotic, but when it comes to life during wartime, and it comes to the real, like, credible threat of other countries wanting to attack us on our soil, yeah, you might lean into the patriotism a little bit. Because you can put aside a lot of your other differences and focus on what's important. Like, where are we going, right? Probably need to pay attention to that. We are going somewhere. I feel like I'm always in somebody's way. Let me know in the comments if you're always in somebody's way. Like, I feel like everyone behind me just wants to go a little bit faster. And I feel like I got a bunch of shit on in my throat. Fuck it, we'll do it live. That's, you know, fuck it, we'll do it live. It sums it all up. What the fuck happened to Bill O'Reilly? You know, congratulations to Rush Limbaugh on, like, a few years clean now. Congratulations, buddy. Way to go.
In a quarter-mile, turn left on Coppensay Drive.
You know, these jokes might not land with everyone.
Turn left on Coppensay Drive.
But they're not really my jokes, right? They're just jokes that you read on the internet. But they're fun to bring back up. And, you know, never miss an opportunity to congratulate Rush Limbaugh on his finally kicking his Oxycontin addiction. Now, if we could just get Trump to stop doing all that Adderall.
In a quarter-mile, turn left on Coppensay Place.
You guys ever want to talk to the government, you just email yourself, right? Just email yourself. They'll see it. This and more pro tips coming to you at 7. Stay tuned. Now, to our sponsors. Hey, by the way, when people have these construction sites out in the middle of nowhere, and they'll have these little porta potties out here, and the porta johns, you know, they'll, like, lock them up. So just, like, random people can't poop in them, right? What the fuck? What if I wanted to poop in there? believe we have arrived where we're going. We're back. And it's episode number 5, season 1 of Joey Farr live during wartime. Starters, if the United States is having to help Israel with their missile defense, then that means their shit's not working as good as it probably says it's supposed to. Or we're just, we're just helping, right? We're just helping to help. But at what point do we just start doing it ourselves and doing like joint allied strikes? And what's to be gained from all that, right? Like, explain to me what happens to Iran if you topple the government that's there and install Western shit. What? Then what? As far as I can tell, that's not what the people there want. But what the people there do want is, perhaps not acceptable. Let's see. We're gonna go north? Yeah. We need to mighty maps bus figure out which way to go. We're out here in the gorgeous, beautiful Ozarks. Deep in the Ozarks right now. Kinda, not too deep. There's still electricity out here. We still got roads. Still got the same internet. And Verizon. But there's no turning back at this point. There is no okay, all right, ceasefire. We're gonna chill out on the fucking bombing each other for a minute and get back to the table on nuclear deals with Iran. There's none of that anymore, guys. There's just none of that. I don't know what the fuck Trump's talking about, right? Dude is high. And he doesn't know how to back up Israel the way I think he's supposed to be backing up Israel.
Turn left onto Rocky Del Hollow Road.
I don't know, that just seems to be what's going on. Where Trump just doesn't know where to put his hands.
Turn left onto the Arkansas 549
He's
South
just in an awkward position. And Putin's just laughing it up, right? I'm sure he's capturing every moment of this. Analyzing it. Because what the fuck better does Putin have to do but be a paranoid fucking weirdo?
Turn
Turn left onto the Arkansas 549
And that's
south
what
ramp.
you are, Vladimir Putin. You're a paranoid weirdo, dude. You're a Libra, too, by the way. Everybody, if you didn't know it,
In a quarter mile, merge
now
onto
you do.
I-49 south.
Vladimir Putin was born on October 7th, the same day that Hamas attacked Israel. Did you know that? So, explain that, Vladimir Putin. Explain that. Was that like your birthday present? So that's what Trump needs to figure out, is how far has Vladimir Putin
Continue on I-49
stuck
south
his
for 16
hand
miles.
in the Iranian cookie jar to fund the Hamas paragliders. Vladimir Putin, did you buy those fucking paragliders for Hamas? And that's what I need to know. That's what America needs to know. Right? As we head into World War III now. But see, that's where Trump is going to be a terrible fucking president. Because he's never going to ask these questions. He's never going to be like, Vladdy, we go way back. Did you fund Hamas? He's never going to do it. Because he's a pussy. And he's beholden to Russia. Trump, if you're not beholden to Russia, prove it. Get on your social media platform and tell everybody that I am not beholden to Russia. That is a lie. Fake news. We all know it's true. It's true. Anyway, do I think that Vladimir Putin funds and aids Iran? Yes. Do I think that Vladimir Putin played a key role in providing intelligence to Iran and Hamas to conduct the October 7th attacks? Yes. Now, would you sound like an insane fucking batshit crazy person if you were a politician out there saying that on the world stage? Probably right now, right? You're going to cause problems. But it's not a far cry to say that Vladimir Putin, Crimea is like 6 degrees separation from Hamas. And you don't have to be in the CIA to know that. Maybe the CIA is an acronym for See, I am aware of what's going on, dude. But it all boils back down to the same reason why Wagner Group wanted to go, put his head on a pike in the middle of Moscow. Because he had sold them a bunk bill of intelligence, and they were operating on a false pretenses, helping him fight a war that was bullshit to begin with. So yeah, they wanted some retribution on that, and eventually that didn't work out for him. He ended up getting the upper hand on them, apparently. But you got like the Wagner Group, that's private contracted security and intelligence firms, right? They're mercenaries. They work for the highest bidder or the best intelligence cause or whatever the fuck, Whatever their reasoning is, it changed one crazy day. And I can't remember which one happened first, Wagner almost executing Putin in Moscow or the attack of Hamas on Israel, but I believe there could be a connection between the two. Don't believe me? Just watch, man. As history unfolds and more things come to light, the North Korea, Iranian, Russian collusion evidence will probably start coming to light soon. And, it's not just going to be fabricated, right? Like, it's not going to be fabricated. And here is something that's going to be troubling for a lot of Americans to swallow, and that is the grand conspiracy to overthrow the global monetary systems, the global banking systems through cryptocurrency. A joint effort between like the Ethereum Foundation, Canadians and Asians, and to basically subvert billions and billions and billions and eventually trillions into the crypto economy. And I don't know if you guys recall the layer 2, layer 3 pump and dump yield farm scam century that was, late 2020, early 2021 when Binance Smart Chain launched. And what is Binance Smart Chain? Well, Binance Smart Chain is some shoddy copy pasta Cosmos based architecture blockchain that runs on proof of stake and is has integrated Ethereum virtual machine technology. The issue is that once you had BSC, Tron, Terra Luna, and several others could basically copy, paste, fork your code and create their own blockchains, right? And everybody's like, I'm going to build the next cool layer 3 blockchain, layer 2 blockchain, layer 3. And so that whole scam went on for quite some time, and you had hundreds of different blockchains pop up, right? Because it became very easy to create a proof of stake network and an Ethereum virtual machine blockchain. And then as long as you had the liquidity, you could chain and then own decentralized exchange and then populate it with liquidity and then try to get other people to migrate to it and build on it. And where that became a problem is when you had like blockchains like BSC and Terra Luna, they had their native token, and it's one thing to have a proof of stake native token and you have it, bridged together with Polygon, or you have it bridged together with Ethereum. But it's another thing when you try to make two natives to a weak chain, right? Two natives to a weak Cosmos chain. And authoritatively speaking, you have Bitcoin, okay? You have the dollar, like actual fee, we're talking authority level. And then you have Ethereum, and then you have USDT and stable coins, right? But USDT, USDC, all these things were built on Ethereum, right? They work on Ethereum. So Ethereum has the security. Polygon was also built on Ethereum, right? And Polygon it was like a mirror proof of stake chain that they've upgraded and upgraded and upgraded and turned into like a really fast, very good, efficient blockchain. But Polygon had more authority than, say, BSC chain or any other of the Cosmos build chains. And let me explain. Because Polygon was using the Ethereum security. Okay, BSC was using Binance, the Binance coin and their BUSD as their native. So that was their authority on their chain. Now they had Ethereum tied into it, and that Ethereum actually had more authority over their chain. And basically their value was about how much was locked into their Ethereum virtual machine protocols on their chain, right? So when you move money, like you move Ethereum over from one chain to another,
use the right 2 lanes to take the exit toward Bentonville, then use any lane to turn right onto US 71B South.
Like, okay, authoritatively speaking, Bitcoin, Ethereum, USDT, USDC, and then all the blockchains that are built on top of Ethereum, like Base, Polygon, Phantom, the ones that are actually built into Ethereum and integrated into Ethereum, have authority over the Cosmos built ones. I don't know how to explain that to you any more clear. And so that's why you ended up with the vulnerability that crashed Terra Luna. That's why you ended up with the vulnerability of Solana. You had a bunch of VCs artificially pumping the price of tokens. See, because they realized that using various Uniswap protocols and balancer protocols and things like that they can kind of game the needle on certain assets, right? And then if they could get those assets added to like Aave or these banks and things like that, they could earn collateral on that, whatever. So if they could create it into a model, that's where it all fucked up, because Sam Bankman-Fried tried to start leverage trading on that. So he was basically, he didn't understand the quantitative part of it, but he was basically leverage trading against himself, and he didn't understand how that was going to fucking compound and play out. And so when the Terra Luna peg slipped, it left him, it wrecked him, and put him in a situation, into a pit of despair. But he thought by creating a Cosmos-based FTX chain that he could like circumnavigate and, you know, save blockchain or something, like by providing a stable layer. But what ended up happening is you had all these pegs that got wrecked on all these dexes because it wasn't just Terra Luna. You had their stablecoin had been integrated into everything. Everything had, like, there were a lot of projects that were like going to trade, have their main trading pools be with USDT or like the Terra Luna dollar or whatever. And I can recall right before that crash happened, Lark Davis was out there like, oh, Do Kwon's going to buy $10 billion worth of Bitcoin, and then they're going to put that in the Terra Luna treasury, and that's going to solidify everything. And see, that's where Do Kwon fucked up, because that wrapped Bitcoin he was buying had more on-chain authority. And so it just, as soon as he started pairing it and pegging it with that, and there was all this bullish momentum, it just sucked the pegs down on his entire ecosystem. Had he just left his liquidity alone and left most of his pools stronger in Ethereum and stronger in USDT and decoupled his own ecosystem, like the Terra and that stable coin, like just have those two things paired together and have those other things paired out with the rest of the market. Basically, there was a lot of poorly put together liquidity with a poor understanding of authority. And so when he started moving all that liquidity around, and then you had leverage trading going against him, it just killed it. Like it killed the peg, and it's basically a $26 billion whoopsie. It's what that was. And it hurt a lot of people because it was poorly organized, poorly secured, poorly built, and dude got a little too hot, right? He was just like, I am fucking invincible. Him and Sam Bankman-Fried both. And if you go back to their Telegram chats, and then you got CZ in there being like, dude, you guys need to calm the fuck down, right? You guys need to calm down and stop playing these fucking liquidity wars with each other. Because you've got CZ Binance, you've got Justin Sun in there with Tron on his chain, and then you've got Terra Luna chain, and then you've got FTX's chain, and they're all built on that Cosmos stuff. All of them are doing the same grift. Meanwhile, Polygon, Ethereum, and Matus, and Phantom, and all those projects were being built on top of Ethereum. And some of their technologies ended up getting integrated into the Ethereum roll-ups, like the optimistic roll-ups. Like you have Optimism, you have all these different layers, like, and they may not be the more popular layers now, but their technology is still built into the new Ethereum. And that's what a lot of people misunderstood with all the crypto development that was happening in 2020, 2021, and all that shit. It was like, we have unfucking locked Ethereum. And see, proof of stake was invented in 2016, I want to say, by one of the, there's been a shitload of crypto developers out there, but they basically, it was the same thing. It was like a backwards version of Bitcoin, right? A reversed thing where you already had all the tokens that were going to be minted, right? Or like with Ethereum now, you have a mechanism where it's going to stay at around 120 million Ethereum, and that's all there is ever going to be, and hopefully it'll reduce over time, but it could increase. And and I think that's a good mechanism to have, to basically, if you need to increase the supply to pay the development team, or to increase supply that's on the market. Because say like on base layer, Ethereum is your native token, so more people are going to want to pair with Ethereum on base, so like it becomes more valuable. It's got to sit there in those layer 2 protocols, because that's how you're going to keep your price oracle. Like if a project wants a price oracle, they're going to have to pair with a stable USDC and Ethereum, and then with Chainlink, and then Chainlink can then dictate that oracle based on a triangulation and keep that price pretty steady across multiple chains. Crypto, a lot of people don't fucking understand it, and like what Ethereum 2.0 was, and like the whole development. And so a lot of people lost a lot of fucking money, including me, dude, because I was more playing around in the checking out new chains. And what happened to Polkadot, right? Like Polkadot was out there trying to be, but Polkadot was built on Cosmos, so that was another issue. And as a developer, you can be like, well, I like curly brackets, or this better than this or that. And I'm not a code monkey, so I don't really know what is more comfortable. Maybe the Ethereum, the code that you would use to write Ethereum would be a little more clunky. I don't know. I just know that when you're trying to do interoperable cross-chain things, and you're trying to get an oracle to be like one price feed here, one is the same here, and the same here. Like, say you've got like 5 different chains that you're trying to keep your price feed at. So you've got to have a little bit of algorithmic wash trading that happens. And you can do that by setting up, your balancer protocols and all that. But yeah, there needs to be more regulation on chain from developers, but less regulation, by lawmakers per se, because lawmakers want to regulate crypto and blockchain because they think it's gonna, but they don't understand it. Like, they haven't fully studied what is actually going on. Like, and it's a disruptive technology in that you could replace a lot of other technologies using blockchain. And people think that's a crazy pipe dream, but you can create social media networks using blockchain. You can create vast layer 3 websites that people could interact with their wallet. But think about a social media platform that you have to have a crypto wallet. Like, that's your identifying signature. That way everyone, that's a great way to verify somebody, right? Hold on, I've got to check something. Yeah, sorry, I had to check, see what condition my condition was in, because I want to know when the weed store is going to close, right? And I think it stays open for another hour, but I need to figure out what I'm going to do about that and not just let that opportunity pass me by. So that means, I turned off my working app for a minute. Maybe. I'm tempted to turn it back on though. It's hard to not work. We're back. See, they were making me take a photo and verify who I was. The audacity of this organization. Anyway, we're out and about. We're doing the Lord's work. Believe it or not. Believe it or not. Feeding the people. Hold on. Speaking of the people. More. Guys, it's Friday night. If you're not going to tip, you probably shouldn't do Uber. Yeah, like I was going to say. It's Friday night. Like, use DoorDash if you're not going to tip, homie. Or, they do pay some Uber people by the hour nowadays, but yeah. I feel bad for the people who probably can't afford it and don't have a way to go get things, but I feel like you should make better choices with your money, right? Use Uber to get a ride to the grocery store, or do the Walmart thing. Just have your groceries delivered to you. But save yourself some money and don't order a lot of fast food to be delivered to you. That's just my opinion. That's just my personal opinion. Like, if I'm gonna get fast food, I'm gonna go pick it up myself, man. And I realize that some people are just not in that particular situation, and it's just more convenient to order Taco Bell and have it brought to you at 2 in the morning because you might be high or drunk or something. I get that. That's cool. But it's Friday night. Hold on. See? There we go. That was a good order. And that's gonna end my night. That's gonna round my night off. But I'm not gonna get to go to the weed store. And that's kind of a bummer. And then this guy is trying to race me on the right side here, and I'm just like, dude, I'm just trying to get over here so I can turn right, man. Like, there is no hurry for either of us, buddy. There's 99 ways to die. It's Friday the 13th, guys. And that will forever be known as the day that the fucking Iran and Israel decided to go to a full-on war with each other, right? So, it is, thank these local road departments for how bumpy it is right now.
In a quarter-mile turn left on West Walnut Street.
It's almost like they're not too worried about these roads over here because it's not as much property tax value here. Back to what I was saying about them gated communities. There's no fucking potholes in those, man.
Turn left on West Walnut Street.
So we're gonna go get some Thai food. And then somewhere else. We're gonna deliver it. But we're gonna get off here. Move on with our life.